Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. And today we are taking a look at the new Rep Athena. Did I say Athena? I meant Athena. Sorry, Rep. I keep messing up the names. But this is essentially a weight stack or plate loaded version that can go and add cable resistance to your power rack. This is a piece of equipment we've been getting a lot of questions on. So I just want to provide some first impressions after using many machines like it, some competition that's out there, and also talking through what I see on their site and having talked to them about their goals on it, so I can give you a first impression so you can decide if it's something you want to purchase or would be helpful for your home gym. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, we're on their homepage here. This is, I wanna say, this is very nice. They're going with the whole, they're like gods, I think, right? I used to call it Eris, I got in trouble for that. It's Ares and Athena, or Athena. What does Athena mean? Does anybody know what Athena means?
Greek goddess of wisdom.
Goddess, okay, the Greek goddess of wisdom. I do like that they have like specific names for all of the stuff, and it is better in my opinion than like the number thing. But they're showing both the plate loaded and the weight stack version. I can see some potential problems with this one. This one, cable stack I always go towards, but let's take a look. Okay, so they've got a few different options. I know they've got a rack builder now. I haven't taken a ton of look at it, but I'm sure this plays a part into it. And then here is the Athena Selectorized side mount. So because Rep is using a lot of different racks, different lengths, and different post configurations, depending on the rack style that you have, this is how you select which one you go with. Here's the question I think a lot of people are gonna be asking is, if I don't have a Rep rack, is this gonna work with my rack? My assumption is based on this image, you probably can. The reason being is it's bolt on to the outside. It's not like it's running internally of the tubes or anything like that. They're sizing the cables and everything based upon their measurements. So as you can see, like the style is either 80-inch or 93-inch. If you've got like a 100 or 108-inch rack, the cable will probably be a little bit short, so you're gonna have to DIY something. So honestly, this is made for the Rep ecosystem. That said, I'm sure if you have another rack, it could fit fine. The other thing to consider is it doesn't matter the width of your rack. So this is a 47-inch outside to outside width. That's what it's based on, but there's no cables crossing over. So it doesn't necessarily matter what width rack you have. It's more about height and then depth. So something to consider. Personally, I would wait for these to come out if you have a different rack, so you can figure out if it would actually work for yours. So they have it for both the 4000 and the 5000 series. The benefit, I would say, of the 5000 series is that you're gonna have these every 2-inch holes. They're gonna be 1-inch holes, but they're every 2 inches on center, which is gonna allow this functional trainer to like move up and down. But the really nice thing about this is this allows you to have a functional trainer on your rack without causing any problems for any other attachments. So as you can see, you have the weight stack here in the back side, and then the cables run both on top and on bottom. And something I'd noticed that I really like on this, if you look right here, is they're running the cables underneath the cross member, which that means this cross member you can still use for band pegs or anything that you would use this for, because this cable is basically on the floor, not in the way of anything. And then up top, it goes above as well. The weight on this is 170 pounds total on each side. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. I like 2-to-1 ratio. We reviewed the X20 from Force USA and the G20. The X20 had a 2-to-1 ratio. The G20 that we reviewed had a 1-to-1 ratio. 1-to-1 is very nice because every piece of weight that you have on there, that's how much comes off on the end. The problem with it is it shortens your cable length. And this is going within this upright. So if you have an 80-inch upright, the distance of travel is not gonna be super high. Really, the ideal scenario for this is gonna be their 93-inch upright option, because it's gonna be taller and it's gonna allow more distance of travel. But I'm really glad they went with a 2-to-1 ratio on this. The problem is a 2-to-1 ratio cuts your weight in half. Ideally, like there's some machines out there that can switch from a 2-to-1 ratio to a 1-to-1 ratio. The Prime Fitness Prodigy rack does that. I would have loved to see that on something like this. I know it can be a little bit difficult with the cabling and the figuring that out, but it's just a kind of a cool addition I would like to see. This one right here, so it sits within the frame of the system. The reason this is nice is you can see they have the weight pegs here. you can still use the weight pegs. But I would guess if you're using the option with the plates on there, you're not gonna be able to use like your upright for plate storage. That's gonna be the problem. So what you could do is you could add on an extra piece of upright for more plate storage. You could store your plates on a plate tree or somewhere else, but you're basically going to lose that functionality, which I think would be pretty annoying. And it's one reason I think the cable stacks are the most desirable. That said, you're limited on the amount of weight you can use. So on that one side is 85 pounds on each side. So at the front, it's 85 pounds. You're gonna feel 42 and a half. And then if you increase the weight up to 220, what would that make it each side? That make 110 pounds. So that's like 55 pounds. That's still, I feel like a little bit light, especially for rows, lat pull downs, and anything where you're using like a lot of muscle mass and you're pulling. But here's one of the things I'm thinking about for this is if you went with the lighter weight option, you decided not to go with the upgraded option, you could get one of those plate posts that sticks in there. There's a bunch of companies that make them that stick in the stack, and then you could add on additional weight if you wanted to go heavier. Okay, so that's the cable stack option. All right, and so this is the plate loaded option. So as you can see, they've removed the plate storage options because these plates would run in the way, but the big benefit to the plate loaded option is you can use as much weight as you want. So it says it has a max weight capacity of 540 pounds, so it feels like 270. So if you didn't have the center mount lat pull down, you could use this side one with the plate loaded option as a lat pull down or low row, and it would be heavy enough for 99% of people in the world. The weight stack option would not. The downside is that those plates are gonna get in the way of any plates you have loaded on the rack, so you just have to figure out a different option to load the plates. Okay, so here's a nice shot of the pulley system. They're using aluminum pulley blocks, which are very nice. It's probably similar to what they're using on some of their other machines. A knurled handle for the cage that's going up and down. Nice pop pin here. Like this is all very nice, and it's their black metallic, which looks good. And then over this next one is the pulley system that's within the cage. I like the band peg additional along with the aluminum pulleys. Like there's some nice engineering here for this cable travel, so it's not bouncing out or getting out of the way. And again, they're going with the black metallic powder coat. That should look good on anybody's color scheme. And then again, the aluminum pulleys, which is kind of surprising they're going with aluminum pulleys because for the longest time, their functional trainer has not had aluminum pulleys. They went with nylon pulleys, and they told me they went with nylon pulleys because they thought they were a better option. I'm kind of surprised they decided to go with aluminum on this. Personally, I probably prefer the aluminum. Now, let's look at the price. So the cheaper option obviously is gonna be the plate loaded option. The reason is because it's a lot lighter. There's really not that much material in here if you're selling it as the plate loaded option. These are all the same price, so it doesn't matter what option you have. You're looking at about 950 bucks for the plate loaded option on both sides. If you went with just one and you technically could use that as a lat pull, it would be $475. I think most people, if you're gonna get this, go with both options because then you can use it for dual handle stuff. And then let's look at the weight stack, 1,800 bucks. So about double the price, and that includes shipping, and that is the lower weight option. If you then decide to add extra weight, 170 pounds total to 220, so that's 50 pounds extra, you're looking at about 300 bucks to add on there. So you're looking at about 2,100 or so to have both of these on each side. Oh man, here's my opinion. This is what I would do. I would get a center mount weight stack, probably. Like they've got their new weight stack option, that center mount lat pull, if you weren't gonna go with the Aries. And then I would get plate loaded personally on either side. I think that would be really nice. Or you could do the opposite. You could get weight stack on this, plate loaded center, and then you'd be able to have the plate loaded on each side. Problem is it gets pretty expensive. Honestly, most people who have a rep rack already, one of the big selling points of this is the center mount lat pull down that's been weight plate loaded. Like that's one of their big selling points on these racks. They now have a weight stack option. Probably for most people, the best option would be to keep the plate loaded version in the middle because you can go as heavy as you want and you can keep your plates on the side so they're easy to put in, and then go with the weight stack option on the Athena. That would be a sick rack. The Aries is like the ultimate, right? Because it can do all of that all within one super heavy stack option. It's more expensive, but I think for people that already have a rack with a plate loaded option, having this option is awesome. And here's kind of the thought, comparing this with other options that are out there. We tested the PRX Build Limitless racks, and we noticed they had basically some cutouts in the cross members where they were gonna do something like this. I don't know when or if they're actually gonna release it, but Rep kind of beat them to the punch on this, which is sweet. This seems like a better option than the Slinger because this one goes both over top and down low. It's just nice, and it's gonna be cheaper. It's got the weight stack option immediately from the start. It's pre-order, so you're gonna have to wait for it, but overall, from my perspective, just from first impressions, if I was gonna get one, this would probably be it. So one alternative to this is to go with a functional trainer. The reason somebody would go with this is because they don't have the space for a functional trainer and don't wanna pay the extra cost to have like a full separate frame for that functional trainer to live in. So the FT5000, to get something that's somewhat equivalent to this, that would be standalone, you're paying $2,500. $17.99, that gets really close to the Rep functional trainer. And that's a lower weight than what's on the FT5000 functional trainer. You then add the extra weight to get it up to 220. You're looking about 2,100 or so. So it's about a $400 difference. The reason somebody would buy the Athena is because they're lower on space. It's cool that this is kind of a difficult option because that means you have options. There's a long time where like cable stacks and things like that, there just wasn't a lot of options, especially within a rack. Options are nice. Okay, this is my opinion on it. There's a lot there. Should you get it? Well, we'll have to see when it comes in and review it and compare it to the other options. But if you'd like to see the full review on it and maybe some other ones that are coming out, make sure you subscribe and you will be notified. All right, what do you think of the Athena? Let me know in the comments. We'll see you next time. This is Coop from Garage and Reviews. Peace.